In the realm of high Renaissance music, few names shine as brightly as that of Thomas Tallis. Born around 1505 and living until November 23, 1585, Tallis was an English composer whose work has endured through the ages. Known also as Tallis or Tallis, his legacy is primarily built on his vocal compositions. These works have secured him a primary place in anthologies of English choral music, a testament to his unparalleled skill and creativity. It is no exaggeration to state that Tallis is considered one of England's greatest composers, his unique voice and English musicianship being revered and celebrated. His compositions, filled with depth and emotion, continue to captivate audiences, transcending the passage of time. Yet despite the magnitude of his talent and his contributions to music, the early life of this great composer remains largely a mystery. Join us as we delve into the enigma that is Thomas Tallis, attempting to uncover the man behind the music and explore the mysteries of his early life in the next scene. Despite his profound influence and enduring legacy, the early life of Thomas Tallis is shrouded in mystery. Little is known about his birth, family, or childhood, with existing records sparse. Historians believe that Tallis was born during the early 16th century, around the end of Henry VII of England's reign, with birth years estimated between 1500 to 1520. His only known kin was a cousin, John Sayer. The surnames Sayer and Tallis have strong ties with Kent, leading many to believe Tallis was born there. His early musical training is equally elusive. Some suggest he was a chapel child in the Chapel Royal, which he later joined as an adult. Others posit he may have been a chorister in Dover at the Benedictine Priory of St. Mary the Virgin and St. Martin of the New Work. It's also speculated he may have sung at Canterbury Cathedral. This lack of concrete information about Tallis's early life only adds to his intrigue. It's fascinating to think that a man who left such a deep mark on the world of music, whose work continues to be revered centuries later, emerged from relative obscurity. His life serves as a reminder that sometimes greatness is born not out of privilege or circumstance, but raw talent and passion. The true measure of Tallis's genius was not only in his ability to create enduring music, but also in his adaptability. From Henry VIII to Elizabeth I, each had different musical tastes and religious affiliations. Yet Tallis thrived despite these changes. He became an organist at the chapel after 1570, but he had been playing this role throughout his career. Significantly, he navigated the religious controversies with grace, his faith never hindering his ability to create music that served the Protestant monarchs. Tallis's versatility distinguished him from contemporaries like Christopher Tye and Robert White. His handling of his work was commended by author and composer Ernest Walker. This certitude mirrors his mastery over his art. Apart from his own work, he taught composers like William Byrd and Elway Bevan, who became associated with the Lincoln and Bristol cathedrals, respectively. His life further cements his legacy, not just as a composer, but also as a teacher. Despite the mysteries surrounding his early life, his impact on the world of music is undeniable. As we delve deeper into the life of Thomas Tallis, we discover his first employment in 1531 as the organist at Dover Priory in Kent. His music filled the priory with an ethereal aura. The priory was dissolved in 1535, and Tallis's whereabouts became uncertain. Always flexible, Tallis found work at St. Mary at Hill, a church in London where he was respected for his talent. He then relocated to Waltham Abbey in Essex, contributing significantly to the abbey's musical life. However, in 1540, the abbey too dissolved due to religious reforms. Undeterred, Tallis moved to Canterbury Cathedral, leading the choir in one of England's most revered, his music resonating within its ancient walls. Despite challenges and uncertainties, Tallis's remarkable talent and adaptability allowed him to build a solid early career. This period laid the foundation for the extraordinary legacy that was to follow, shaping him into the composer we revere today. As we journey further into the 1540s, we find Tallis making his mark in one of the most prestigious musical establishments in England, the Chapel Royal. Records suggest that he began his service here around 1543, a claim supported by his name appearing on a 1544 lay subsidy roll. Tallis's connection with the court may have started earlier while he was at St. Mary at Hill, as in 1577 he claimed to have served the monarchy for 40 years. At the Chapel Royal, Tallis likely played a crucial role in educating the choir boys in keyboard and composition. In the early 1550s, Tallis's personal life took a significant turn. He married Joan, a widow of a gentleman from the Chapel Royal. The couple settled in Greenwich, like many other members of the royal household choir, although it's unclear if Tallis owned his residence. Tallis's service was recognized by Queen Mary I, who granted him a lease on a manor in Kent, providing a comfortable income. He remained a distinguished figure in the royal chapel, attending Queen Mary's funeral in 1558 and witnessing the coronation of Elizabeth I the following month. As he aged, however, Tallis's prominence began to fade, yet in 1575, Elizabeth granted Tallis and his fellow composer Byrd an unprecedented 21-year monopoly for polyphonic music and a patent to print and publish set songs in parts. This was one of the first arrangements of its kind in England. Despite their Catholic faith in a Protestant England, which presented numerous challenges, including the prohibition to sell imported music, Tallis and Byrd were the sole users of the paper used in printing music. They had the exclusive rights to print any music in any language. Their first publication, the 1575 Canciones que ab argumento sacrae vocantur, however, did not fare well. The public was wary of their new publications, and the sales were further hampered by Tallis and Byrd's religious affiliations. Despite their struggles, they persevered, resulting in a second petition in 1577, which granted them a joint lease of crown lands. After this publication, Tallis is believed to have retired from active composition, marking the end of an illustrious career. As the twilight years of Tallis's life approached, he settled in Greenwich, possibly near the royal palace of Placentia. He continued his service as a member of Elizabeth I's household until June 1585, only a few months before his death. In August of that year, Tallis penned his will, a testament to his meticulous nature even towards the end of his life. His final days were spent in his home in Greenwich, where he passed away on either the 20th or the 23rd of November. Tallis's final resting place was the chancel of St. Alphege Church, Greenwich. A brass memorial plate was installed there following the death of his wife Joan, but this tribute has since been lost. Tragically, it is believed that his remains may have been discarded during the early 18th century when the church underwent reconstruction. His epitaph, once etched on a brass plaque, was also lost in the rebuilding process, but was documented by English clergyman John Strype in his 1720 edition of John Stow's Survey of London. Tallis's death did not mark the end of his influence. His fellow composer and friend William Byrd composed the musical elegy Ye Sacred Muses as a tribute to Tallis's genius. Joan, who outlived Tallis by nearly 4 years, ensured his legacy lived on. Her will dated the 12th of June, 1587. Despite the loss of physical tributes to Tallis, his music continues to resonate, a testament to his extraordinary talent and the indelible mark he left on the world of composition. His influence transcends the boundaries of his lifetime, his melodies continuing to inspire musicians and listeners alike centuries after his death. As we delve into the early works of Thomas Tallis, we find a rich tapestry of compositions that showcase his evolving style and adaptability. Among his earliest surviving works are the Ave de Patris Filia, a magnificent setting for 7 voices, the Magnificat for 4 voices, and 2 devotional antiphons to the Virgin Mary. These compositions provide a glimpse into Tallis's early influences, including the profound impact of Henry VIII's break from the Roman Catholic Church and the emergence of Thomas Cranmer. Tallis's Mass for 4 voices is a particular standout, its unique features offering insight into the composer's creative prowess. The influence of John Taverner and Robert Fairfax, 2 of the most prominent English composers of the time, is apparent in these early works, contributing to the development of Tallis's unique musical voice. The reign of Edward VI brought about significant changes in the Anglican liturgy, prompting Tallis to adapt his compositional style. Despite these challenges, he continued to produce exceptional music, demonstrating his unmatched ability to evolve with the times. The return to the Sarum Rite during Queen Mary's reign had a profound impact on Tallis's compositions. This influence can be observed in his Gaude Gloriosa Dei Mater and the Christmas Mass Por Natus Est Nobis, both of which are imbued with a sense of reverence and deep spirituality. As Queen Elizabeth ascended to the throne, Tallis once again adapted to the changing musical landscape. His ability to evolve his composition style in response to shifts in religious and political landscapes is a testament to his enduring genius. This adaptability, coupled with his extraordinary talent, ensured that Tallis's music would continue to resonate long after his passing, influencing generations of composers to come. As we step into the Elizabethan era, we find Tallis navigating yet another shift in the religious and political landscape. The Protestant authorities now in power discouraged the use of polyphony in church, unless the words could be plainly understood as per the 1559 injunctions. However, this did not deter Tallis from creating extraordinary music. His response was to compose 9 psalm chant tunes for 4 voices for Archbishop Matthew Parker's Psalter, published in 1567. One of these, the third mode melody, would later inspire Ralph Vaughan Williams's Fantasia on a Theme by Thomas Tallis in 1910. One of Tallis's most renowned compositions from this period is his setting of Psalm 67, now known as Tallis's Canon. This piece was later adapted by Thomas Ravenscroft for the hymn All Praise to Thee, My God, This Night by Thomas Ken in 1709, and it remains Tallis's best-known composition to this day. Despite the restrictions, the injunctions allowed for more elaborate music at certain times of the day. This provision paved the way for some of Tallis's more complex Elizabethan anthems. His settings of the Lamentations for the Holy Week services and the unique motet Spem in Alium, written for 8 5-voice choirs, are particularly noteworthy. These compositions, along with his work from Edward's reign, such as If Ye Love Me, showcase the depth of his creativity and his ability to adapt to changing circumstances. The Elizabethan era saw Tallis produce some of his most memorable works, further cementing his legacy as one of the most influential composers of his time. His ability to navigate the shifting religious and political landscapes of his era, while consistently producing remarkable music, is a testament to his enduring genius. His works from this period not only ensured his survival, but also set a high bar for future generations of composers. As we near the end of Tallis's life, we see a fascinating resistance to the evolving musical development that was embraced by his younger contemporaries, such as William Byrd. Byrd was known for his compositional complexity and his penchant for adopting texts from disparate biblical extracts. However, Tallis seemed content in drawing his texts primarily from the liturgy and consistently writing for the worship services in the Chapel Royal. Tallis's later compositions were created during a time of great conflict between Catholicism and Protestantism. This tumultuous period is often reflected in his music, which displays characteristics of the turmoil of the era. Despite the changing musical landscape, Tallis remained true to his style, creating music that reflected the times he lived in. In contrast to the rapid musical evolution of the period, Tallis's later works are often characterized by their simplicity and emotional depth. His music from this period includes a set of English anthems such as Hear the Voice in Prayer, A New Commandment, and O Lord, Give Thy Holy Spirit. These works showcase Tallis's skill in composing music that was not only beautiful, but also accessible to the congregations of the time. Despite the pressures of changing political and religious landscapes, Tallis remained steadfast in his musical convictions. His resistance to the musical development of the time did not hinder his creativity. Instead, it allowed him to continue producing works of profound depth and beauty, further cementing his legacy as one of the most influential composers of his time. Tallis's later works stand as a testament to his enduring genius and his ability to adapt to changing circumstances while staying true to his unique musical style. They serve as a poignant reminder of the turbulent times he lived in, and the remarkable music he created in response to these challenges. As we delve deeper into the legacy of Thomas Tallis, we find that he is remembered primarily as a composer of sacred vocal music. This is in part due to the lack of extant instrumental or secular vocal music in his repertoire. Despite this, his influence and impact on the musical world are undeniable. Intriguingly, no contemporaneous portrait of Tallis survives. The one painted by Gerard van der Gucht, although it dates from 150 years after the composer's death, is often used to represent him, though there's no reason to believe it's an accurate likeness. One of the few existing copies of Tallis's signature, inscribed in blackletter, shows that he spelled his name Tallis. This signature, like his compositions, is a testament to his enduring presence in the world of music. His legacy is not only preserved in his music, but also in the institutions and media that bear his name. In 1971, the Thomas Tallis School opened in Kidbrooke, a mixed comprehensive school named in honor of the illustrious composer. Tallis's influence also extends into pop culture. A fictionalized version of Thomas Tallis, portrayed by Joe Van Moyland, featured in the 2007 Showtime television series, The Tudors. Despite the liberties taken with historical accuracy, this portrayal served to introduce a new generation to the genius of Thomas Tallis. As we reflect on Tallis's life and work, we see a man who, despite the turbulent times in which he lived, produced works of profound depth and beauty. His music continues to resonate with audiences, his legacy living on in the echoes of his compositions. His resistance to the changing musical landscape of his time did not hinder his creativity. Instead, it underscored his unique style and cemented his place as one of the most influential composers of his era.